morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before the court, for the record, is the continuation of the trial of the Commonwealth versus Edwin Alemany on indictment 2013-11163. The defendant is present with counsel Jeffrey Denner, Michelle Hubbard, and Joseph Keller. The Commonwealth is represented by Assistant District Attorneys John Pappas and Zachary Hillman, and there are 15 jurors.
Again, good morning, members of the jury. Now, collectively, and the reason I had this inquiry, which I asked you not to discuss amongst yourselves at all, is to make sure that the jurors focus solely on the evidence at trial, and that you remain a fair and impartial jury that focuses solely on trial evidence, not any outside influences. I appreciate your patience with us as I conducted that inquiry. Next witness, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Shikara Patel.
Right this way, please.
Stand here. Face the clerk and raise your right hand.
Sir, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give the jury and the court in the cause now at hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Can you say this slowly, please?
Sir, do you solemnly swear that you don't have to repeat it.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give the jury and the court in the cause now at hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Sorry. If you can say little better, I can.
Okay. Sir, do you solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that the testimony you're about to give
testimony
to the jury and the court
to the jury and the court
in these proceedings shall be the truth,
the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth?
and nothing about the truth.
So help you God.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just watch your step further. Speak clearly into this microphone. Okay? May I inquire, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you just introduce yourself to the jury and the court? Say your name and spell your full name.
Okay. My name is Jigar Patel, Jigar Patel.
And Mr. Patel, you're going to have to make an effort to keep your voice up so that
Okay.
everyone can hear you, okay? So really make that effort, all right? How old are you, sir?
23,
And where do you live right now?
New York,
And what do you do for work in New York?
like a gift and card store.
Gift and card store?
Yes.
What do you do at the gift and card store in New York?
Selling.
Okay. And where's that store located?
Right. If you could just keep your voice up, Mr. Patel, please.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. And if you try just to testify, so you can talk to Mr. Pappas way over there, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Where's that gift and card store located?
2216 White Plain Road, registration Bronx.
In the Bronx?
Yes.
How long have you been living in New York for?
About 1 year.
Where did you live before you were living in New York?
South Boston,
And where were you living in South Boston?
309 Old Colony Avenue.
Were you living at 309 Old Colony Avenue?
Oh no, sorry, I work there. I live in Old Harbor Street.
And was that in South Boston?
Yes.
Were you living in South Boston as of July 2013?
Yes.
And Mr. Patel, did you have a job back then?
Yes.
And where were you working in July of 2013, sir?
Rotary Variety is
How and where was that? What was the address of that business?
309 Old Colony Avenue, South Boston.
And how long had you been working there as of July of 2013?
About like 3.5 years.
Okay. Were you born in the United States, sir?
No.
Where were you born?
India.
Okay. And how long have you been in the United States?
About 5 years, sir.
5 years, okay. Now, what did you do at Rotary Variety?
I work in the Metro PCS, is a cell phone section.
So, what type of section did Rotary Variety have for Metro PCS in that store?
Means, I don't get it though.
Okay, let me ask you a better question. You said you worked at the Metro PCS section at Rotary Variety?
Yes.
And just describe what that was, sir.
Oh, it's like a cell phone section. You buy the new phone over there, or if you want to pay the bill, you can come to pay the bill.
Okay. And what was your job at the Metro PCS section? What did you do?
I sell the phone and I pay the bill for the customer.
Would you pay the bills, or would you take money from customers paying the bills?
Yeah, means customer paying the bill for the.
Okay. And when a customer paid the bill, how would that transaction take place?
Second.
If a customer paid the bill, how would they pay it?
Cash.
Okay. And when they paid in cash, what did you do? Did you have a register there?
Yes.
Did you have a computer?
Yes.
And what did you do? What did you do with the person's account on the computer?
If they want to pay only the bill, I have to need only the cell phone number.
Okay.
That's it.
And could you look that up on the computer?
Yes.
And what would you do after you took their money? What would you give them back?
Receipt?
Did you have cell phones for sale there?
Yes.
And how were they displayed? How were the cell phones displayed that you had for sale?
I have the counter for the display.
Okay. And were they in a case?
Yes.
And if someone wanted to buy a cell phone, how would you do that transaction?
Okay, then I just need only the first name, last name, and the address, and
Okay.
the birthday.
For Metro PCS?
Yes.
And those records, those receipts, if someone were to buy a phone, would you give them any paperwork back? Would they have to fill out any paperwork?
Oh no, they don't have to. When they buy the phone, I just have to give the receipt, that's it.
Okay. And if someone bought a new phone, what would you do, what would you have to do with activation or activating the phone?
But like nothing. I just need only the name and the address and the
Okay.
birthday.
Does someone have to pay an activation fee?
Yes.
Okay. And who do they pay that to?
Me?
Okay. And how do you keep a record of that transaction, the sale of the phone and the activation fee? How is that recorded?
They record in the computer. I have the receipt on it.
And are those regular records that are kept at Metro PCS
Yes.
for every transaction?
Yes.
Okay. And when someone pays their bill or you sell a phone, do you make the record, give them the receipt right then?
Yes.
And would you be responsible for making those records?
Yes.
Back in July 2013, sir, about how many days a week did you work at Rotary Variety?
About 5.
Okay, and do you remember what hours you worked at?
About morning 9 to 9 sometime.
And as far as working at the Metro PCS section, did you get trained to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know who the owner of the store was back then? Was
yeah,
that
I
someone
know.
who was known to you?
Sorry?
The owner of the store.
Yes, I know him.
Who owned Rotary Variety?
He's my friend.
And is that how you got the job?
Yes.
Do you know who owned the business next door?
For right now, yes.
Who owned the business? What type of business was it next door?
Liquor store.
And who owned the liquor store next door?
But before is Chinese people, so I don't know who is this. But now is my friend. He
Okay.
owned the liquor store.
Did he own the liquor store back in July 2013?
No.
Back in July of 2013, Mr. Patel, did the Rotary Variety have security cameras?
Yes.
Did they record?
Yes.
And what about the Metro PCS section that you just described? Did that section of the store have security cameras?
Yes.
Did those record?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to direct your attention to a Tuesday, July 23rd of 2013, did you meet some police officers at Rotary Variety after July 23rd of 2013?
Yes.
As far as the video, the security system in the store, what did you do with those police officers?
Second?
Okay. You just described a security system.
Yes.
Did you ever look at footage from Tuesday, July 23rd of 2013?
Yes.
And who did you look at it with?
Officer?
An officer?
Yes.
And where did you look at it for the first time?
In my store?
And when you say in your store, are you talking about Rotary Variety?
Yes.
Okay. Who did you see on the video that you looked at?
But I don't get it.
Okay. The video that you looked at, Mr. Patel.
Okay.
Who did you see on the video?
Is me in there, inside in the counter.
Yep.
For the Metro PCS,
Yep.
and I have a customer.
Okay. Did you see yourself waiting on the customers?
Yes.
And did you complete certain transactions when you saw yourself on that video?
Yes.
Mr. Patel, I want to direct your attention to the monitor over here.
Okay.
You see that okay, Mr. Patel?
Yeah, that's fine.
And I'm going to access what's been marked Exhibit Number 1 in this case. Okay, Mr. Patel, do you recognize what's depicted, what you see? Do you recognize what you see on the monitor there?
Yes.
And what do you see there, sir?
The two customers waiting for me.
Okay. Do you see yourself, what do you see? What store is that?
Metro PCS in the Rotary Variety.
In the Rotary Variety?
Yes.
And where is that located? The Metro PCS section right there, where is that located in the store?
All the way inside in the middle.
Do you see yourself on the monitor yet?
No, not right now.
And who do you see on the monitor?
The two customers.
And did you wind up waiting on them on July 23rd, 2013?
Yes.
And who did you just see sit down in the chair?
Me.
Now, what type of transaction were you completing for the two customers that are at the counter?
About she want to transfer the service from this phone to another phone.
Okay. And who was transferring service?
Means
Who was transferring the service out of those two customers?
the lady.
Okay. And what type of fee does Metro PCS charge for transferring service?
$15.
Did she wind up paying, and was that a cash transaction?
Yes.
And did she?
Your Honor, if I may, I object some basic relatives.
Great. Let's move on to the other transaction.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, I'm stopping the counter at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. How many customers do you see at the counter now, sir?
Only two.
Okay. And describe what the two customers are wearing.
Sorry, say again, please.
What are the two customers wearing? Their clothing. Describe, if you would, Mr. Patel, what clothing are they wearing?
Oh, the one guy have a black T-shirt and one guy have a white T-shirt with the
Okay.
black cap.
And the person in the black T-shirt, what, if anything, did he buy from you that day?
Metro PCS cell phone,
Okay. And how did he pay for the Metro PCS cell phone?
cash.
Okay. What other transactions did he complete that day?
He paid the bill.
Okay. How many bills did he pay for?
Okay, he paid the two bill, for one for his brother and one for his girlfriend.
Okay. Did he pay? What else did he pay for?
He paid for. He buy the new phone, so he paid for those two.
Okay.
And
And
the
was
first-
there any type of activation fee with that new phone?
Yes, it's the first month. The first month activation fee, $60.
And Mr. Patel, did you generate records regarding those transactions that you just described?
Yes.
And was there anything else? What else did he pay for that day?
And he paid for the $15 for the before the two customers was there.
Okay, the
For
one you
the-
described earlier, the woman and the guy in the
Yes.
white shirt?
Yes.
And how did he pay that? What fee was that?
$15 for the transfer the phone service.
Okay. And how did he pay with that? How did he pay for that?
Cash.
And describe this area that I'm pointing to right here, sir. What is this area?
Those for the display for the cell phone.
Okay. And who has access to get into the display case?
Sorry.
Who can access? Who can get into the display case?
Me.
And where you're sitting here, what is this? What is this right here, sir?
Computer
And what do you use that for at Metro PCS?
for the new activation or the records and everything.
Is that how you access the records?
Yes.
And just as you're facing the screen, what's this item right here to the left of the computer screen?
Is a printer for the receipt.
Okay. And when you print a receipt, how many copies do you print out?
One for, if it's only payment, is only one receipt.
Okay.
If it's by the new cell phone, I have to print the two printout, one for the customer and one for myself.
Okay.
It's for the record.
And I just want you, as you watch the video, I want you to focus. I want to ask you some questions about the person in the black T-shirt you described. Okay. And what are you doing right there at 3:49 on the counter, Mr. Patel? What are you doing?
Showing the phone.
Okay. And who are you showing the phone to?
I think the guy who wear the black T-shirt.
In that particular phone, is that a display phone?
Yes.
Is that an actual phone?
Oh no, it's a dummy.
Dummy phone, okay. How many different service plans did Metro PCS have back then?
3.
And what are the 3 different types of service plans?
$40, $50, and $60.
Okay. And are those pay-as-you-go plans?
Yes.
And how often is the bill due?
Like
How often is the bill due?
every month.
Okay. And do you get any internet, what type of internet access do you get with those plans?
But like if you have a $60 plan, it's unlimited internet.
Unlimited internet?
Yes. If you go down, then the internet go down too.
Now, the person in the black T-shirt, when you dealt with him on July 23rd, 2013, how was he behaving? What was his demeanor like?
About like he, like talking too much. He's moving, you know.
I'm going to object to the question of the answer.
It's overall, answer stand.
Did you talk with him back and forth?
Yeah, like sometime because I'm transferring the phone for the another customer, so.
Okay. And when you were talking with him, did you have any problem understanding him?
Not real.
Okay. Did he seem to know what he was asking you for?
Yes.
And what was the conversation that he was having with you?
He talking about like a phone.
Okay. And
Phone
what type
and
of phone?
About like 4G phone.
4G phone?
Yes.
How many phones did you show him that day?
But like 2 to 3 phone.
2 to 3 phones?
Yes.
And when you showed him those 2 to 3 phones, was he asking you questions about the phones?
Yes.
Was he asking you questions about the service plans for the phones?
Yes.
Were you giving him answers?
Yes.
And did he seem to have any trouble understanding what you were telling him?
No.
Just yes or no, did you see him talking to the customer in the white shirt?
Yes.
Did you see him talking to the customer, the woman in the black shirt?
Yes.
Mr. Patel, how many phones are displayed in the case there that you described?
Okay, how many I described to him?
No, just generally how many phones are in the case?
Okay, it's about like more than 15, about 16, you know, 15 to 16.
And what did you just do right there? What did you hand him?
4G phone?
Okay, was that different than the first phone that you handed him?
Yes.
And at whose request did you hand him the 4G phone?
The another guy?
Did he ask me, I'm asking you this, did the guy in the black T-shirt, did he ask for the 4G phone? Did he ask to look at it?
Yes.
And what you handed him, was that another dummy phone?
Yes.
What's a dummy phone?
It's like a fake phone. Just a display.
And do you recall what you were talking to him about right here at 7:22 on the counter?
Okay.
What were you talking to him about?
About the service and the internet speed.
Did you say internet speed?
Means like internet service.
Internet service.
Yes.
And did you just put something away back in the case?
Yeah, it's the dummy phone.
And right there at 7:46, did you see anything in his hands?
Yes.
What was that?
Cash.
And what did you see him wind up doing with the cash that he had in his hands?
He counting
Okay, and how many times did he count the cash?
about like more than 10 times.
The denominations of cash he had, do you remember what kind of bills they were?
But like mostly $20 bills.
Mostly $20 bills? And the 4G phone that you showed him, what was the price of that phone?
He's in a discount, so it's a $99, means $99.99 plus tax.
Okay. Would that include the activation fee?
No.
And you just placed something on the counter. What are those two items under your hand right there?
Is the cell phone
Which cell phones were those?
for the another customer with the white T-shirt and the woman.
And did you complete some type of transaction on those phones?
Yes.
What was that?
Is a transfer the service?
Okay. At that point, when you transferred the service, had you been paid for that yet?
No, not yet.
And what are you doing right there, Mr. Patel?
It's showing the phone,
What phone now?
4G.
And what happened to the other two customers?
They left.
Do you recall if they ever came back?
Sorry?
Did they ever come back?
No.
And what did you just take out of the case right there, sir?
4G phone.
And
original.
how was it packaged?
Sorry?
How was it packaged?
Is in the box.
And what are you doing with the box right there, sir, at 10:39?
Activating the new phone, 4G.
And what do you see him doing right there, sir?
Hitting the neat and the liquor.
Okay. And when you say he drank,
If the witness could just speak up a little bit.
can you repeat that answer?
Sure. He drink the liquor.
Okay.
Is in
And
little neat, the small bottle.
small bottle. And where did he get the small bottle from?
From the next one.
No, from his person. Where did he get it?
Means his pocket.
And what did you say to him when he drank the small bottle of liquor?
I say you cannot drink inside in the store. It's not allowed.
Okay. And what was the response?
He said, okay, no problem.
And what do you see him doing there at 10:58 to 11 o'clock, to 11 minutes? What was he putting on the counter?
Cash.
And what steps do you have to take, Mr. Patel, to activate the phone? Can you do it right there in the store?
Yes.
Did you wind up did he buy a phone?
Yes.
Did you activate it that day?
Yes.
And what did you just take off the counter there at the 12-minute mark, sir?
Cash for the phone.
Where did you wind up putting the cash?
Right on the front on me.
Excuse me,
Sorry.
would you
What
repeat
said
that?
Mr. Patel?
Right front on me on the counter.
What's in front of you? What's in front of you where you put the cash?
Okay, it's like a regular table.
Okay.
So before, like when the customer left, then I put the cash in the register.
Okay.
So I just keep it outside.
And what are you doing at the computer right now at 13:10, sir? What are you doing right here?
I'm filling up, filling the form, like the name, address, and the date of birth.
Okay. And is that the record you keep of the transaction?
Yes.
And at this point, right about now, from 13 minutes going to 13:37, what, if anything, was he asking you?
Sorry?
Was he asking you any questions?
Yes, about the phone service and
And what are you doing right there at 13:49, sir?
I'm showing it's like a different phone number from the different area. So what number do you want? You know?
Okay. And did he wind up choosing a number?
Yes.
Mr. Patel, when you worked the Metro PCS section at Rotary Variety, did anyone else help you, or was that your job there for the day?
No, that's my job. That's my job.
That's your job?
Yes.
And what did you just hand him there, sir?
Box.
Okay.
Excuse me, a box? Is that what you said?
Yes, cell phone box.
And what was inside the box?
It's like just dictionary.
Okay. Was there a cell phone in the box?
No.
Where was the cell phone?
In a counter.
Okay. In front of you?
Yes.
And what were you doing with it?
I have to activate the phone.
During the entire time you were doing this transaction, did you have any problem understanding the man in the T-shirt?
No, not really much.
Did he ever appear that when you were explaining about different plans and cell phones that he was confused or couldn't?
Not
Objection
really.
sustained.
And what do you have? What did you give him right there?
The receipt.
And what did he do with it at 16:06?
Sorry.
What did he do with the receipt?
He the one receipt for himself and one for myself.
What did he do with it?
Oh, he signed the, like for the myself, he have to sign the receipt.
Okay. And did you wind up keeping a copy of the receipt?
Yes.
And this item right here at 16:15, what's on the counter right here, sir?
Is a cell phone box and the receipt inside
Okay. Inside of what?
in the bag.
And what do you have in your hand right there?
Cell phone.
What cell phone was that?
He buy the new 4G phone.
That's the actual phone?
Yes.
Did you activate it at that point?
Yes.
Did you check it to see if it was activated?
Yes.
And what are you doing right there at 1720, sir?
Paying the bill
And what bill was that?
is like a regular monthly bill.
Okay, how many of those bills did he pay?
Decide he buy the phone, he paid 2 different phone bill.
Okay, and did you generate receipts for those 2 different phone bills that he paid?
Yes.
And what do you see him doing right now? What's he putting on the counter at 1750?
Cash
Okay, and what was that cash for?
for the paying those 2 different bills.
And what, if anything, is he saying to you right there at 1829?
About the transaction, because he wanna pay 1 bill means for his brother and 1 bill for his girlfriend.
Okay, and how much did he pay for each account?
I'm not sure, but one payment he paid for the 2 months, about 113, and another one I'm not sure. I don't remember. About like 50, 60.
And what is on the counter right here at 1837?
Cash.
Earlier you said he drank a nip of alcohol.
Yes.
During the entire transaction, did he appear intoxicated to you? Did he appear intoxicated?
No.
Can you speak up?
No.
And before July 23rd of 2013, Mr. Patel, had you ever seen this person in Rotary Variety before?
No.
And what do you have in your left hand right there at 2048, sir? What are you holding in your left hand?
The payment receipt?
Payment receipts?
Yes.
And what were the payment receipts for?
For the monthly bill
And what did you give him?
is the 2 receipts for the one for his brother and one for his girlfriend.
And what did you just hand him right there, sir?
Another receipt for the payment.
Okay, and that was at 2210. And how many receipts did you hand him?
2.
And what is he doing with the receipts?
He writing down the which receipt for the brother and which one for the girlfriend.
And what is this item at 2232? What's that item right there on the counter?
Is the cell phone?
Okay, is that the cell phone you sold him?
Yes.
Mr. Patel, I just want to ask you some additional questions. I want you to take a look at the contents of this sheet protector and ask you if you recognize, first of all, do you recognize these 3 slips of paper?
Yes.
And just, if you could, sir, just take a look at each one of these slips of paper, and I'll ask you if you recognize what these first 3 slips are.
Okay.
And just make an effort to keep your voice up, Mr. Patel.
Okay. Okay, the Slim Shady is...
First of all, do you recognize, look at them
Oh, yes.
individually, do you recognize what they are?
Yes, this is the receipt for the payment,
Okay, for the payment of what?
monthly bill,
Okay, and how many payments of monthly bill receipts do you have in front of you there?
2.
Okay, and on the monthly payment for the bills, you have 2. What's the third receipt?
Third one is for the activation, he buy the new phone, that's for the activation, first month activation fee receipt.
And these 3 receipts, sir, do those correspond with the transaction that you just saw in the video from July 23rd of 2013?
Yes,
And these were were these generated at the time?
yes,
And are these are these records regularly maintained for every transaction like the ones you've described for the court?
yes.
What is this piece of paper right here, sir?
Okay, the first paper is for he buy the new phone.
Okay. And when you say he, you're talking about the transaction you just described that was played on the monitor on July 23rd of 2013?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of phone was purchased?
He buy the Hawaii Premier 4G.
And could you just spell Hawaii? It's not. Go ahead, spell it.
So, HUAWEI, Hawaii.
And could you spell Premier?
Sure. PREMIA 4G.
And what was the cost of that phone, sir?
About $99.
And what was the activation fee?
$60.
And was there anything else? What else, if anything, was purchased to go along with the phone, besides the phone itself and the activation fee?
Well, he buy the micro SD card,
And how much was that micro SD card?
$31.99.
What is a micro SD card?
Is the memory card.
Okay, and how many different kinds of micro SD memory cards are there?
About like 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, and 32 gigabyte, three
And-
different kinds.
What size did he buy?
16?
Okay, and did he negotiate, ask you questions about the different micro SD cards?
Yes,
Okay, and he wound up buying the 16 gigabyte?
yes.
Okay. And the total cost of this transaction, how much was it, sir?
$199.18.
And this particular document right here, is this, was this record generated right at the time of the sale?
Yes.
And who generated it, sir?
Sorry?
Who made this document?
Me?
And is this a record that's regularly kept by Metro PCS?
Yes.
The person who purchased the phone, you said Metro PCS doesn't require any type of proof of identification?
No.
And who was the phone sold to? What was the name signed?
Slim Sadie?
Okay, and could you just spell the first name?
Sure.
Go ahead, spell it.
SLIM
And the last name?
SHADY.
And is this the phone that you activated on that date?
Yes.
And what was the phone number?
857-318-5217.
And lastly, sir, showing you this document right here, do you recognize what this is?
Yes.
And what do you have in front of you there?
This is the phone information for the MIM number and MISI number.
What's an MIM number?
It's like
Is that MIN as in Nancy?
no, it's like the code for the cell phone.
Okay.
If you stole or something, so you can give those codes so they don't use.
And is there another identifying number on this document?
Yes,
What number is that?
those for the cell phone.
Okay. I asked you some questions, or you described in the video a box that the phone came in.
Yes,
The numbers that you just described, where, if anywhere, do they appear on that box?
in the side.
And is that for all phones that are sold?
Yes,
And what other information was generated on this record? Did you get any information from the person you sold the phone to?
yes, is a proof of means. Whatever he gave me the address, I have the address
Okay.
and the account number.
And what about the name? Was it the same name you just described?
Yes,
And what about an address? Was there an address provided to you by the customer on that date?
yes.
And what was the address?
666 Halton, Boston, MA.
And when you,
Excuse me, could you just give me that 666 and get the street?
just spell out the street.
Okay, HELLTER, Boston,
And what was the zip code?
02127.
And again, was this document generated at the time of the sale?
Yes,
And lastly, showing you this particular document, do you recognize what this is, sir?
yes.
And what do you have in front of you, that last document?
This is for the, like every night I close the computer, so this is the printout for myself, how many transactions I did, like for the today.
Okay, and this particular printout of these transactions, that's something you do on a daily basis, this type of record?
Yes,
And did you do that on July 23rd of 2013?
yes,
And regarding the transaction you described with the person in the black T-shirt that you just saw on the monitor, how many of those transactions appear on this printout?
about with the phone, 3.
Okay, and
One-
which three?
One for the cell phone, which one he buy, the activation fee, and another 2 for the monthly payment.
Your Honor, at this point, I would ask that the 3 receipts and the 3 associated documents be marked as the next number of exhibit collectively.
Yes.
Exhibit 191, so marked, Your Honor.
just going to put a receipt on the monitor. It's been marked exhibit number 191 in this case. Can you see that okay, sir?
Yes.
And what receipt do I have on the monitor right now?
This one for he buy the new phone for the first like activation fee receipt.
Okay. And what does the $60 represent right here?
For the first month payment.
And what was the date and time of the transaction?
About like 7/23/2013 and morning 10/29.
With respect to, has this not been asked and answered?
Not the date and time.
What was the date and time of the transaction, sir?
About like
Can you see it?
yes, 7/23/2013 in the morning 10:29 a.m.
And for this particular phone, or this receipt, I should say, is the phone number for this activation fee on this receipt?
Second.
This activation fee that's on this receipt, is there an associated phone number with it?
Yes,
And is it on this receipt?
yes.
And what's the phone number?
The 857-318-5217.
And just showing you this second receipt, Mr. Patel, part of exhibit number 191, do you recognize this receipt?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that to be?
This is for the monthly payment receipt.
Okay, and you said there were 2 monthly payments, one for a brother, one for a girlfriend?
Yes.
Which one was this?
This is for the hood sleeper.
Okay, and who was that?
I think I'm not sure. I'm sorry. This is for the brother.
Okay, and what was the amount of the past due balance?
$40.
Okay, and how much was paid? How much was paid on the date of this receipt?
$83.
Okay, and what did the $3? What's this right here where I'm pointing to convenience fee? What is that?
It's like a store fee.
Okay. So how many months were paid on this particular account?
2 months.
And was that on the same date, July 23rd?
Yes,
And what was the time that this transaction was recorded?
but like 10:38 a.m.
And again, was that by the gentleman in the black T-shirt that you described on the monitor?
Yes,
And I want to show you this last receipt. Do you recognize, I have the third receipt from exhibit number 191 on the monitor. Do you recognize that, sir?
yes.
And what type of receipt is this?
This is for the monthly payment receipt.
Okay. And what was the monthly payment for this particular account?
About like for the single month is $60, but he paid for the 2 month
Okay. And how much was paid on this particular account?
$113.
And what was the time? That again was on July 23rd?
Yes,
And what was the time that this was paid?
but like 10:41 a.m.
And as far as this particular receipt goes, was there a phone number associated with this receipt?
Yes,
And what was that phone number?
phone number I cannot say is like the phone number is 774-360-1623.
And what was the name on this account?
Elizabeth Stephen.
And I just want to go back to the previous receipt. What was the phone number? What was the phone number associated with this receipt, sir?
857-318-2368.
Do you recognize that receipt, sir?
Yes,
And was that for the transaction you had just completed?
yes.
Now, the information that's on this particular document, sir, part of exhibit number 191, who provided you the name, subscriber name, and subscriber address?
The black t-shirt guy.
And I asked you some questions about a box.
Okay.
I want to hand you this particular item, sir, and just generally ask you to take a look all around it and ask you if you recognize it.
Yes.
Okay, and what do you recognize that box to be?
This is the box for he buy the phone from the.
And how do you know that's the box?
Okay. This one have the IMEI number and the ICC ID number. You see it right there. So
Okay. And what's an ICID number?
ICC ID.
Yeah, ICC ID. What number is that?
Those for the how do you call it?
As best you
For the-
can.
The cell phone device number. Yeah.
I think he's identified the box with the number.
I would ask that this be marked as the next numbered exhibit you're on.
Exhibit 192, so marked, Your Honor.
In the number you were referencing, sir, I'm just putting 192 on the monitor. This is the ICCID number that you're talking about?
Yes.
Just have one moment, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Go to sidebar.
I'm good.
We're going to take the morning break. Please do not discuss the case in email.
Court, all rise. First, please place your notepads on your chairs. Kindly step down.